They're savory, they're peppery, they're sweet and sticky, they're tender, they're fall off the bone, and they're delicious. That's right, we're doing a couple slabs of ribs today. We're gonna rub them down with a real simple store-bought lemon pepper rub. But then what we're gonna do is spritz them with a simple syrup, a little bit of lemon juice. It's gonna make them nice and sweet. It's gonna give it that fresh taste. It's summertime, it's awesome out here. I'm doing it in my offset smoker today. But if you're using a pellet smoker, set your smoker to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. That's what I'm doing today. I'm gonna be using a mixture of oak and cherry. I'm using the oak for that nice earthy flavor you get, and for my BTUs, that's gonna be my heat source. And then a little bit of cherry just to put in to add a little bit extra flavor. Right now what I'm doing is building up a coal bed. So this will probably take a half hour, 45 minutes to get that going. If you're using a pellet smoker, it's even easier for you. Just get your pellet smoker preheated to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and let's start working on these ribs. And we have two different kind of ribs we're gonna do today. So first is baby back. You always know baby backs, it's gonna say it on the package for one, but it always has the curved bones. These are the ribs that are up around the back section of the pig. I think this is probably people's favorite kind to eat. It's a cleaner bite. They're very meaty and tasty. And then we have the spare ribs. So these actually come from the belly part of the pig. Just picture these are the ribs protecting the pig's belly down on the bottom. Still a great rib, and these bones kind of go on an angle, so a little bit tougher to cut if you're not used to it. And I think people don't like them as much because there is a little bit of gristle. You get these little knuckle bones you got to chew around. As far as price goes, they're about the exact same price. So either get what they have available or pick your favorite. Doesn't really matter. One of these is for my neighbor who asked me if I could smoke up a slab for him, so I'm going to do that today. All right, so what I'm going to do, the process is the same on both of these. I've got them meat side down right now, and I just want to clean them up a little bit. This is not a competition cook, so we want as much yield as possible. But I know on this slab, this little piece of meat is going to burn before the rest of this cooks. So I'm going to go ahead and just make a little cut. And I can cook this separate and just snack on it when it gets done. And then the next thing, it's up to you if you want to pull the membrane off. I've got plenty of videos on how to do that. You basically start at one end with a paper towel and you just pull it off. But I found that you really don't need to do that. Instead, I just like to score it with the knife. That membrane's actually going to help that meat stay on the bone instead of fall off onto the ground when someone tries to eat it. So that looks good on that side. I'm just going to flip it over here. Look for any excessive fat that might not render out completely. And I'll actually cut this little triangle piece off, because that'll burn as well. And then this isn't too bad. Maybe a little bit of extra fat right there. Just take a little bit of that off. And then just feel with your hands. Make sure there's no like bone fragments from when they cut these. And if it feels nice and smooth, that one's good to go. And this is the lemon pepper seasoning. I just buy it from the store. It's got dried lemon peel, pepper, sugar, celery seed, onion powder, garlic powder, a couple other things in there. Really, really good. This goes great on chicken, goes great on pork. I'm not gonna use a binder today. These ribs are still pretty wet from the package. So we're just gonna go ahead and lightly coat these. You don't wanna overdo it. Just get a nice even coating. And then we'll flip this dude over. I forgot to score the back of this, so I'll do that now. And then we'll hit up this side. Season both sides. All right, just kind of pat it in, make sure it sticks. Then I'll do the same thing to the other slab. Okay, so the ribs are trimmed, the ribs are seasoned, the smoker's preheating to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Now it's time to make our spritz. This is a secret I learned from Tuffy Stone. He's got a book, I'll put a link below. It's called Cool Smoke. He used this on chicken, so it would go real good on chicken, but I thought it would go great on ribs too, and guess what it does? It goes really good on ribs. So that's where I got this from. If you want to get more recipes like this, check out that link below. Let's start making this spritz now. Okay, so real simple. Simple syrup, no pun intended. 1 cup of hot water. Okay, I brought this almost up to the boil. 1 cup of sugar. We're gonna mix these two together. And that's the secret here. It's 1 part water to 1 part sugar. And there we go, fills up my jar perfectly. Put a lid on it. Make sure it's nice and tight. And just let it swirl around. Now this is real cloudy right now, but as it settles, it'll turn clear. And then you can let this cool, and it'll sit in your refrigerator for about a month. You could use this. It's great for lemonades, for making any kind of a cocktail. This is just good to have around, and something you should have in your repertoire. So that's the first part of this. We'll let that turn clear, and then we'll add our lemon juice. All right, so that's turned clear. You don't have to wait. I just did that for a demonstration. Wanted you to not worry if yours was cloudy. So now what we need to add to this for our spray is a 1/2 cup of fresh lemon juice. Hopefully these 2 lemons will be enough. I'm gonna do it through a strainer. I don't want any pulp or seeds in there because I don't want it to clog my spritzer. So we'll go ahead and squeeze the juice out of these. And that got us pretty close to a 1/2 cup. I'm gonna call it good enough. So if you're going to the store looking for your shopping list, you need at least 2 big lemons for this. Now we'll pour it in. Put the lid on. Give it another little shake. And we'll be good to go. I'm gonna dump this into my spritz container here within the next hour or so. So let's go over and take a look at the smoker, see if we're up to temp yet. All right, so we're sitting good. We're sitting right around 250. It's gonna go up and down. It could go up as high as 275. It might go down to 225. It's not a big deal. So right now what I'm doing is just waiting for the pit to start putting out clean smoke. And it pretty much is. If you look down over at the fire, I've built up that nice coal bed that I'm talking about. So basically my splits have kind of broken in half and burned down. And that's the whole key here is you want a nice strong coal bed. What that means is you're gonna have a lot of heat. And when you put your splits in, as your temperature drops, you're not gonna get a bunch of nasty smoke in there. So your coal bed is everything. Now, right now what you see is a bunch of oak. And to give you a better idea of what I'm talking about here, so this is oak, if you've never seen it before. I got this from my firewood guy. Really interesting video that I just did. I'll put an iCard up for it. His name's Joe, and his company's Ohio Woodburner. He gave me a nice lesson on firewood, so I learned a lot in that last video. But basically, here's a piece of oak. It's been aged or seasoned for 2 years. Here's what the bark looks like on oak. Good sign that it's been properly aged. It's gonna have a gray end. That's from the sun bleaching out the color. But here, the sun did not bleach out the color because he had them stacked in single file rows. This is very, very dense. What I mean by dense is heavy. This smaller piece here is heavier than this bigger piece. This is cherry, so this is gonna add that fruity note. You'll notice the cherry is red in color, kind of a pinkish, dark red, and it's a lighter piece of wood. So earthy flavor from the oak, fruity flavor from the cherry. But there's a good comparison of the two, what they look like. So a little lesson on firewood for you, but again, definitely check out that video if you're interested in firewood. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add this piece of cherry. Once my temperature in the pit starts to go down, say maybe it's hitting 220 and I need to get the temperatures back up, that's when I'm gonna put in cherry. And then I'm just gonna alternate throughout the cook. Piece of cherry, piece of oak, until the ribs are done. That should give us a real nice balanced flavor. All right, now let's get right to the ribs here. So again, set your smoker to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm gonna go right about this center rack here. We're gonna put them both on the same rack. I'm putting the thicker, meatier ribs in the back. The back of the smoker is a little bit hotter than the front. And then these little meaty pieces, I'll just put them right up here. And as they get done, I can snack on them. Push it back in. All right, we'll get this door closed. And the game plan from here is we're just gonna smoke them now for the next hour and a half. We want to develop a nice little crust on the exterior with that seasoning. Then we'll start spritzing it with our lemon sugar spray. This is not a traditional barbecue rib with red sauce or something on it. We're just going to taste the smoke, the lemon pepper with that sugar water. It's awesome. I've made this a bunch of times. You guys are going to love it. So we'll be back in about an hour and a half. All right, it's been an hour and a half. Here's my simple sugar and lemon juice. Let's get this open. Woo! Look at that. Now here's that crust I was talking about. You want to wait until it crusts up if you're going to spritz, because I'm not trying to wash off all my seasoning. I want to make sure it's stuck, and it is. We're doing real good here. So that's all dried out. And now about every 20 minutes, I'm going to come and spritz this with this awesome sugar water and lemon juice. Well, simple syrup and lemon juice is the secret. It's going to make them sticky. It's going to make them sweet. And you're still going to get that nice pop of citrus from the lemon. There we go. All right, back in. And I'm going to do that every 20 minutes until it's time to wrap these. So I'm going to come back when it's time to wrap. And we are 3 hours into this cook. So here's our baby backs. Look how big and meaty these are. That's going to be awesome. Great color. Okay. They're probably ready to eat now, to be honest. So the back of that smoker is a little bit hotter. Here you can see the bones. Okay, nice pull back on those bones. I'm going to do all this before I put it on the foil. I don't want the bones to break through the foil. So one last spritz. Give them a little bit more sugar water and a lemon. And I'm going to show you this backside so you know what to expect. Here's all that membrane. It just basically is going to peel off of there. And we're going to spritz this underside really nice. And we're going to go meat side down on the foil. We're going meat side down so all the juices collect and soften up that meat. So we'll get this down onto the foil. You can see they're already pulling apart on that guy. So he's gonna get done quick. And then just wrap it in foil, being careful not to let the bones poke through. And then they're gonna go back in the smoker. We're not cooking to a temperature at this point. We're just cooking until a toothpick goes in and out like butter. Could take an hour, could take a half hour. Just keep an eye on it. And then when they're ready, we'll come back and show you the next step. And the lemon pepper ribs are done. So we smoked them 3 hours in the smoke. The first rack, which was the baby backs, were in the foil for about 45 minutes. And then 10 minutes back in the smoke just to kind of let that sauce set. And pretty much the same thing for the other rack. So let's take a look at these. So right here is the baby backs. Get a good look at those. Awesome color. Turned out real nice. There's the bottom. And then here is our spare ribs. These happen to be my favorite. A lot of people don't like them because you got that gristle that you got to chew through, but I think it's a better tasting rib. And that's the one I'm going to go with. So let's get a bite. All right, here we go. Let's go for the bite. Clean off the bone. Really good flavor. The sweetness from that simple syrup. You get the pepper, that lemon. It's unbelievable. It's a different way to eat ribs if you're tired of the same old thing. And I know you're going to love it. And you know what else you're going to love? One of those two videos right there. And I'll see you over there.